Unfortunately, I live in a wilderness preservation area. I've lived here long enough. See, my family has been here. See, they brought up the material to build their housing on dirt roads, which means there wasn't anything here before. Very much so, first time ever things can be noticed as going on here. Like, for instance, I think cable television was out and inside of homes during the well, at least the 70s. I don't know what my point is with that, but see, you can remember when cable television made it up here. I know I do. I remember. See, that's just my point is unfortunately I'm one of these people who is carrying nostalgia that that it affects me psychologically because um well, now we can see that the intention of the occupations here, like whoever comes up here, I mean it's a wide variety of why. We've always known about tourism. But see, back in the 1940s, um even the way that we toured was different, I think. I mean, we didn't have Airbnb, that's for sure, and um so changes, changes, changes. That's all I'm saying. It's like, well, somebody who was born and who's 15-year-old, or who's a 15-year-old or even 20 wouldn't know that there was never so much noise. And see, um, I'm just ultra sensitive, and I do have audiographic memory, so it could be, it's about sound. So the noise that just amplifies with the new presences here, things happening for the first time. Like for sure, I mean, like who rode the first Harley Davidson ever to come up here would begin to reverberate through the canyons, and you see, they used to have a noise curfew up here. This was clear back at the turn of the century. 1905 is when they stopped all of the sawmilling, and it was very much a big logging industry. They took out all the indigenous growth. They call it indigenous, but we don't know who planted those trees 400 years before. And those trees, I'm pretty sure they were no older than, now being a ponderosa tree, not much more, I don't think, like, its width, its girth is any more slower or faster. As a black pine tree, these trees that they collected here, which we have big trees here that are this old, that are hardly 125 years old. Why? Well, back then they planted them. They're called spit seeds. They planted this forest that is around us now after having collected what was here. So anyway, that was an operation that was going on. There were people that were, see, I lived on a road, there's Tollgate, which that was the original road out of here. Who cares, right? But there's a remnant of the road that drove along the creek or along the grotto, and then I'm sure there's a bridge that would pass, and my grandma would point out when we were going down. See, there's where the bridge was going across. That's the easier. It's like the way that the horses would go. They would use horses mainly to take out the logs out through the toll gate, because the toll gate was to log out how many logs were coming and going. And these logs, I imagine, they built the very cities that you see around us, particularly up north, really. And it's weird because the logging that went on up north came to down south here. A lot of, like, where the house that I was raised in was built in 1926 or in the 20s out of pure redwood. Their framing, their framing is not pine, it's redwood. Very, 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 it's good housing. As far as how it endures the weather. So anyway, just getting back to psychologically adjusting to what I'm looking at, and why do we have to put up with that? You know, like why does see this was supposed to be a wilderness preservation area. Well, with time, over time, a lot of the presence here that actually kept it a sanctuary, who my grandmother used to say, the reason why, you know, like there's no trash and that it's so beautiful here is because the people who live here keep it that way. And, talk about the first time occurrences that go on here. I mean, I'm telling you, babes, I have a creek out back that never had trash in it simply because people kept the trash up. When this place, the John Muir Trail, the John Muir Trail that runs from all the way from Alaska, more like Canada, all the way down to, I think it's someplace in fucking Argentina or something. It's a trail that goes all along the mountain ranges, at least to Mexico, up and down, and we have that trail here. It's called the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a famous trail, and it goes through our mountain range here. So we get people who have a very trail conscious mentality, hikers. We used to get that anyway, and we still do. I mean, within all of the other weird ambiance going on here, which is money turning things into a retirement town, which should never happen. It's dangerous for old people to think that they can hunker down up here as a retirement. It's like, really? Did you know you need to have a fireplace here just in case the power goes out? And it will, and you can't rely on electricity not all the time. You shouldn't. Even though they want it to make it more and more, they want to make it, no, you can't have electricity go out. Why? Because you'll have too much fun. That's the whole point of going up in the mountains. The electricity goes out and you use fire, light to even make entertainment, and people and the kids start actually playing with each other instead of Nintendo. And getting back to the mixture of people, like you'll see these really amazing people with amazing legs, and they've been hiking around, and it's like there's a hiker there. And they need a special attendance up here, to tell you the truth. It's like, well, where is everybody that has the mountain ambiance for them? They're like hitchhiking. They want to get back to the trailhead. They're coming here to do what? Spend too much money getting the food that's there and stuff. And my idea is like, well, yeah, I'll do the Airbnb, but just for the people that are camping and stopping and need a place to re-up on the herb and do a little. Maybe I'll have a, I'd like to get a sauna going on. I mean, this is just stuff you think you could do for money. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, why not? But for less money for them. They're being milked and they're not getting really good service, right? Most likely, you know. Boy, getting back to just noticing, okay, the changes where it's like, okay, it's been wrapped up for me. You see, when my great grandpa sold the 4 acres here that went down, this 1 acre finally sold. See, the person before, his name is Luke. He's the guy, I think he built the A-frame there, and he left, and then the people next door who they bought that land up and it was just empty. So it's been always just the same ambiance since the 70s, as far as looking that way from me, until just last year. So now I've got, like, okay, it's solid that there's this presence here, which when you kind of go like this and you look at it, it is so fragmented. These people are here but not here. Trump supporters, I mean, none of that should be coming up here putting signs in the fucking thing saying, vote for Biden, you know, or go for Trump, and it's like, would you shut up? Nobody in the mountains gives a fuck. In fact, we're going there to just shut all that out and say, you know what? I'm pretty sure I'm perfectly intact without all of that. If I could just catch a fish over there, you know? I mean, we could start something that matters here. We do need that. We need governments that are that are intelligences that are applying themselves to the needs of the people around in the area, like say as if there could be such thing as micromanagement, which there can be, and there should be. What we have is, yeah, that grid that goes. Now get back to talking about it, how it's just mangling the shit out of everything, and it's so disgusting. To even my ancestry, who, well, okay, so my grandmother ends up, her dad is half Indian. His mother is whole Indian. Somebody's jumping the fence in the 1800s with the kind of settling down of having the mass genocide, and let's have a maid for an Indian. Why? Well, she ends up pregnant. Let's not kick her out. Well, how did she end up pregnant? I don't know, but let's keep her. That's the Horn family over there with a silent E at the end. Anyway, pop out comes my great grandpa, who's half Osage Indian, and now we have this going on, and so I have a little bit of that gene in me that is a little bit of different skin than just the white person. Um, but getting back to just knowing the land and having a connection to it, and then noticing. I remember it wasn't too long ago when I finally heard, you know what, the squirrels have gone mad. They are not just reacting to what's moved in around them, they are injected with something. I mean, something's coming out of the air, and then I'm looking over and one is eating one on the side of the road, and I'm like, I've never seen a squirrel eat another squirrel when it was hit. Just straight up chomping it down. Maybe a raven. So I remember it's like, okay, so the animals have gone mad, and then I have to notice how did you psychologically adjust to the fact that the forest is going to die in 20 years? All of it's going to be gone. I know this because you can. I could see it in other parts of the wilderness. I can see, you know what? These trees right here, they're not going to be here because they're not getting any water, and they're on such the ledge and blah blah blah, and they can't survive anymore. What did they do? They all died. Let alone because fire would blow through too, and it needs to blow through. Well, the last time there was a fire here was in 1902, I think, or 1903. And it did its job. You wouldn't be able to notice. I see there used to be a stump on next door of one of the big old stumps that burned out from that fire. There was a stump left. There used to be stumps left from when they had did the mass logging. In fact, they replanted all of these trees here that you see, mainly the black pine, but all of them really dumping seeds in the creek. And now there's this strange elderwood and willow and other cottonwoods and stuff that never were there 40 years ago. And they claim, well, that just sucks up the water at the end. You don't have any water. It's because of those trees. And then it's like, well, whatever. But getting back to just me noticing, okay, noticing is like, I would like to tell the neighbors, you know what? We've never had that noise here ever. Never ever did we ever need that light on over there either. We don't see when I came back here to live. And there was a neighbor doing this thing with the light on. I made him turn it off. See, when I moved back here on my grandmother's property, this light made me cry because you don't do that in the mountains up here. And I changed his mind. It took I think it was a couple years, but the first year was